You see, with pepper plants, keep them the right size. It's nice. You can take them to a place here. This is actually built for a writing desk. I made these several years ago. And I let the soil get fairly dry. Then I can bring my plant over here and I can go around and inspect every leaf. Welcome to Ecocentric Homestead. So what I'm doing here now, like I said, I'm taking back the pepper plants. I do have aphids, and one of the nice things, the other thing I want to do, instead of bringing them in to the bathroom the way I was doing before and spraying them off, I can tip the plant to the side, knock all the aphids down here on the counter, on the desk, then I can squish them. Sometimes peppers and whiteflies, they go hand in hand, but since I've cleaned this off the last time, it doesn't look like any whiteflies have gotten back on it. Peppers, I did mention before, I have a love-hate relationship with them. But John, come and see this. That's John from Willow Grove I'm talking to. This is a plant from the Shintaka ghost pepper that you sent out the first Shed Wars year. And there's 3 peppers growing right there. Is there any more? Just 3 right now, but it is 3. As I said, I have a love-hate relationship with the aphids because I think aphids fertilize pepper flowers. And I've been having trouble getting the small itty-bitty pepper flowers pollinated. And I'm just wondering now if these have been pollinated by aphids or was it me? I think I've discovered now how to get peppers to grow well. Of course, the first thing you start with is a good potting mix, a fertile potting mix. But the main thing, I have this little moisture meter. Now, a lot of people, they can stick their finger in there, and I can feel a bit of moisture there now. But there are people that are good at it, they can stick their finger in, they can tell whether the soil is dry or not. So with the moisture meter, ooh, we've got a reflection. You see, right up this end is wet, and right down this end is dry. And I'll put it here in the, with the pepper. You can see it's up toward the wet end. Now, I don't let it get down all the way to dry. It starts at 0 and it goes to 10. It gets down into a red zone. There's also from 0 to 3 is red. From 4 to 8 is green, and 8, 9, and 10 is blue. I water it. Of course, it goes all the way up to 10. And then I wait until it gets down into the red zone before I water them again. And things have been reviving here. Okay, we'll start down here. Now this is the one that was in that broken pail, so I've got it repotted in here now. But it was growing well before. It's a chocolate pepper, and it was just struggling along, barely hanging to life until I started doing that. And now it is coming back with really good growth here. So I cut off the whole growth and just planted the new thing here. I have a pepper growing on here as well. So he's coming back looking really healthy. That's just from the old growth before. You see, this was the older one, and the scraggly Shintaka ghost pepper. And you can see I got aphids. I'm going to take this one over and wipe all the aphids off. And I don't know if you can see those little white guys, the white flies that are on it. There are some white flies on this one. I'll take that one over and wipe them off now. But he has grown up quite a bit and looking healthy now. This is the one that it grew and died and grew and died. It was keep repeating. And now look at all the new healthy growth is coming on it. So I think I've got it now on that one. I don't know what this one is because it's I don't know if I've ever gotten a pepper off it actually. But I have several peppers growing on it now. Got to get the watering regime right. There is the thing about the soil, okay? The heavier the soil you got, the less you'll have to water it and the less you should water it. I think you could get around having heavy soil by watering less. That's what I'm trying to say. If you let the soil get dry, then air can still get into an heavy soil near the roots. But as long as there's moisture for the soil to wick up, and heavy soil the water will wick up into every pore and then just drown out the roots. Tiny Tim here is doing well. So I'm going to try with this one too. Now I'm going to try to nurse this to health. I'll probably put it in a little bigger pot. It's a lavender. The purple lavender, I think. And see if I can get one by keeping the soil a little drier. Get that to grow well indoors. I have a little Christmas cactus back here. I'm struggling to get that to grow properly. It did put out some buds and lost them again. I think that was a temperature issue where it's sitting right here in by the bright window. For those of you with low light conditions, Aloe Vera doesn't like the light apparently. It's doing well here. I think I've got to let it get too dry now because I've got one leaf going bad. But I had to take this away. The sunroom is outside that window behind it. It gets no direct sun whatsoever. It's just sun reflected from... It's quite dull here actually. You could probably grow that in your bathroom. Oh, there's an idea too. All winter long, these kale were here. They were twice as long as they are now. I cut them back, eh? You see, the tops are cut off. They don't grow out here very much in the winter because the temperature is always gets down below 10 degrees Celsius. They're growing a little bit. But the thing is, you can get kale growing during the growing season. Get a really big kale and put it in a pot like this, and in just a bright frost-free area, and you've got fresh kale that you can go and pick a couple of leaves all winter. So get onto your growing kale in the spring. Get it big. Get some big kale growing. Don't harvest all your kale out in the garden. Pot them up and put them in, like I say, a frost free. This is my sunroom, but if you had a similar area, then you'd have fresh kale. all winter. These onions, now they're the ones I tried to get seed from last year. Now there's the Red Spring, and as we know, I do have some Red Spring seeds that did sprout. That back there is the Australian Brown, and this one is Conserva Shallots. They were sitting down the back there all winter, and during the shortest days of the year they didn't grow, but around mid-February they started to grow again, and I've taken so many batches of green onion off of these. When they grow up long, you see these long straggly ones now, I'm going to harvest it, cut those back, and I'll use them on my toast and eggs in the morning. So for most of the winter, I've been able to come out here and harvest green onion. I am going to try and do that every year. Now, these, I'm going to, like I said, cut back those long ones now, and I'm going to bring this outside and try again to get seed from them again this year. That's the large onion that doesn't seem to be growing, but we'll see. I'm going to put that outside here now the once. I've got all my tomatoes moved up here. That's how big the tomatoes are. I don't know how big they should be, because in reality starting tomatoes from seed and growing them out is new to me. The lettuce that I put in these hanging planters are coming along quite nicely. I mean, it wasn't that long ago I put them there. Now, as for the peppers that I've been seeing if I could overwinter, every one of these, the entire stalk is brown. Still waiting, of course. This, check it out. We got one leaf open. But there are little bits of growth coming on this pepper plant. So this one, if I get a pepper, I've got to save the seed and get several pepper plants growing that will overwinter. Rosemary is doing well. This is the Shintaga ghost pepper that I had out here, and pretty much the entire top is dead. We'll see if anything comes from the roots. So there's still some things growing up from the compost, eh? I'm just going to let them grow and see what they are. I expected these to actually grow. Last year I put an extra bag over them and they didn't get any frost. And I didn't expect the frost to kill them, that little bit of what we got this year. But they're completely brown. This is the one that I dug up from outside. Hot Portugal. It actually produced quite well where I had it planted last year. And I dug it up, put it in a pot and put it here to see how that would work. It's right now totally brown. But as you can see, I've started to clean up this area. I am going to have this sunroom full the entire growing season. I'm going to have some tomatoes here, so it'll be like a greenhouse, except it's facing east. And you'll see what peppers I'll have as well. So I'll have stuff growing in here the entire growing season. These are the last of my plants that I have upstairs now for indoor plants. Another Aloe Vera and a Thornia. I don't know what this succulent is. And that's my pepper plant that I have had here for 3 years now. I've taken the dead parts off the lavender. Maybe next week I'll be able to get some compost and remix a good fertile potting mix, and I'll pot this up into a different pot and see how well I can make a lavender house plant. I don't think chives is going to work as an indoor plant. I tried it. Now the dead parts, they are constantly putting out new little bulbs down below, and the old ones are dying when they get crowded. So that would be expected anyway. But the ones that grow up, they're little tiny spindly things. I don't think they like being crowded in like this. Before I put this outside, I'm going to see what happens if I cut this right down. So what happens if you grow this inside, and you let it grow up, and then you cut it right back like that, and then let it grow up again. You won't have a continual harvest, but you'll have a harvest, intermittent harvest, if this works. This tiny Tim didn't survive its upplanting, so I'm going to have to start another tiny Tim for beside my computer desk. Of course, that's the other Kale. I have one put outside. This is why I had to move the tomatoes all up into the sunroom. Now I've got my first mass indoor planting done. The up potting I done earlier the week, and I've replanted out to 200 cell flats. Over here, I guess I'm still collecting lights because I'm going to want to make those two shelves into a grow shelf as well. I only have one light, so I need 5 more. Grabby and a couple more plants there. That's the onion plants that I replanted some more onion plants because the initial 200 cell flat, the commercial flat, didn't do as well. That's the inside for the first week in May. Just finished my breakfast now on May the 8th. So I hope you enjoyed it and follow along, and I'll see you in the next video.